preparation for the United Nations Association's test of English.
The United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, was awarded the 2020 Nobel Peace Prize in October. The award was to recognize its work of, among others, providing life-saving food assistance to millions worldwide. Reportedly, last year, 2019, the WFP supported nearly 100 million people. Question: please explain the background of the WFP's activities. This essay consists of 5 paragraphs. 1. An experimental basis for 3 years. 2. In the last 60 years. 3. The WFP now. 4. Sustainable Development Goal 2. 5. The pandemic and climate changes.
1. An experimental basis for 3 years. The WFP was set up on an experimental basis for 3 years, at the behest of US President Eisenhower in 1961, with the condition that the international community would assess the effectiveness of its multilateral food aid delivery operations in due course. The new organization was right away tasked to deal with the humanitarian consequences of a range of natural and man-made disasters. It also launched its longer-term development programs as well, such as school meals projects. Thus, from the very beginning, the WFP has promoted development, rehabilitation activities along with emergency food aid.
2. In the last 60 years. At the end of the initial 3 years, the WFP's operations had clearly proved its worth. Consequently, it became a full-fledged, integral part of the UN establishment. At that time, the understanding was that the WFP should last as long as the international community can sense operational desirability and financial viability of its multilateral food aid. Obviously, in the last 60 years the international community has maintained the same positive stance towards the WFP.
3. The WFP now. The WFP is now governed by the WFP Executive Board, whose 36 member states provide intergovernmental support, direction and supervision of the WFP's activities. The organization is headed by the Executive Director, who is appointed by the UN Secretary-General and the Director-General of the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, of the UN. It should be noted that the WFP has survived solely on voluntary contributions from the UN member states and the public at large.
4. Sustainable Development Goal 2. The WFP's direction is mapped out in its strategic plan, which is renewed every 4 years. The 2017 to 2021 strategic plan aligns the organization with the 2030 agenda. Focusing on ending hunger, Sustainable Development Goal 2, and contributing to revitalized global partnership to implement the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs.
5. The pandemic and climate changes. Today, the WFP is needed more than ever. Armed conflicts continue to ravage many parts of the world, and drive millions of local residents into poverty. Reportedly, in 2020, some 20 million African people are living on the brinks of famine. There is a serious need for greater solidarity to address many existential threats, which include the ongoing pandemic hazard as well as longer-term climate changes. They all can make the hunger crisis even worse in the future, which will in turn aggravate the global task of achieving sustained peace.
For your reference, Mr. Beasleye's interview. Last week, the WFP chief, Mr. David Beasleye, received a Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of his organization. In the interview afterward, he made an emotional statement. He said that many of his friends as well as world leaders often remark that he has the greatest job in the world, saving the lives of millions. He, however, begged to differ. "I don't go to bed at night thinking about the children we saved. I go to bed weeping over the children we could not save. And, when we don't have enough money, nor the access we need, we have to decide which children eat and which children do not eat, which children live, which children die." How would you like the job? He appealed, Please don't ask us to choose who lives and who dies.
It's a completely absurd world that many developed countries have food loss problems while some are hungry. The problems of countries suffering from poverty and hunger cannot be solved in a straightforward manner, but WFP has been constantly facing the problems and working hard to solve them internationally.
This is a quote from Kiraba Krishnaswamy, who is researching to prevent food loss and extract useful resources from food waste. Waste is a term that was invented by humans. With nature there is nothing called waste. Everything had its purpose, and this is how things remain sustainable in nature. We need to observe and learn more from nature. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Cheers.